Hi, I'm Kathy Callahan-Brady, and welcome to In the Trenches, and thanks for staying too. Today we're here with Carl Grant from Cooley, and I wanted to take a few minutes and just thank you for everything that you've done for FTSE. You started a while back when we were really turning things around, and we started the investment committee together. You actually chair that, and I remember when we first started talking, we said, well, it's not going to be a traditional investment committee like you're used to. It will be 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road, and it's completely different, almost 2 years later. So thank you for doing all of that for us.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
Yeah. And then you're also on the board as well, and now you're chairman of our board as well, so that's pretty impressive. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like I've got on a rocket ship here. It's just taken off. You know, I don't know that I could take credit for anything, but I will. But we've opened up a new location, we've launched several initiatives, and we're talking about even more great initiatives.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And then the 15 years coming up too.
Absolutely.
So every time we talk, we create something else. So Funded and Bruised, Reality Check. We've had a lot of fun with all of those.
Next to our new television show.
Exactly.
Starting with this.
Yeah, but I met you, PJ Paloma actually introduced me to you. Yeah. And we hit it off right away. We started talking about the whole investment stuff, but why investments? So I want the audience to get to know you a little bit better. What's Cooley? What's your role there?
Well, that's really what I do in my day job. I lead the business development team at Cooley, and Cooley is a leading tech and life sciences law firm. And what every entrepreneur needs is money. Everyone, I've yet to meet one that doesn't need money. Yeah. And so we've perfected the art of connecting entrepreneurs with sources of capital, angel investment, venture capital, growth stage equity, private equity, and so forth. And I'm tapping into family offices now as well. And so when I joined up with FTSE, that was the logical place to put me, since I've got a little bit of expertise in that area. And I've been doing this a long time. I've been in this space for 22 years now. And you know, a lot of the FTSE companies aren't necessarily ready for prime time in terms of getting to the venture capitalists that I know. So that's why we really looked at some of these initiatives like Reality Check. We wanted to give them a chance to do a pitch to a friendly audience and to let them know if they're ready. And if they're ready, then I know where to take them. And some of them have gone on to present at the Capital Call event that
recently,
yes,
right?
that Cooley hosts, and then the other one is Funded and Bruised. And so the idea there is to bring CEOs of companies that have already raised capital to impart their wisdom to the entrepreneurs here in Frederick. And I think that's been very helpful, so that these companies know what a funded company looks like and what it took to get them there.
Well, so you just had Capital Call. You talked about that one. And we had one of our companies there. That was exciting. Actually, I think for the last couple ones
we've had a couple.
Yeah.
Don't quiz me on them. We had a lot of companies come through, and I can't remember all the ones that were selected and not selected, but it's an ongoing thing that we do twice a year. And we had 260 RSVPs. I don't know how many of them actually showed up, but it was a standing room audience only, and a lot of investors in from out of town. And then we also put it out on social media, on our Vimeo channel, and there's been a lot of follow-up from investors that weren't even able to attend the event.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. You know, one of the things that I think is the most valuable asset that you provide FTSE and our companies is this whole idea behind Reality Check. So what does it actually take to get ready to fund a company and become a fundable company, if that is a word? Can you give them any advice on that? Because as you know, and you even said it, every company needs capital, but getting ready for it is a real challenge, I think, and there's several areas that we're constantly looking at. Any advice can you leave them with?
Well, I'd say the top three are management team, And when I say management team, investors like to see a team that's done it together before. And when I say done it together, it's not a failed startup. It's they've delivered returns to investors in the past, and there's not a lot of that here. So, but we've brought in CEO Philip Merrick over at Fugue, who has delivered monster returns to investors in the past. So those are the types of things that get investors excited. The other thing that they look for, it's management team, it's market potential. Are you selling into a large and growing market? And when I say large, I'm talking billion-dollar large and growing. And then the third thing is an unfair advantage. What kind of unfair advantage does this company have? Is it a patent that's going to keep others out of the space? Is it a strategic relationship with a major company that's going to block others from the space, or some distinct first mover advantage, or some other reason that the next company that comes along isn't going to be able to eat their lunch?
Yeah, good advice, great advice. Thank you. I'm going to throw you a curveball. You know how I always do that kind of stuff. But so when we first started building the advisory boards, we wanted to make sure that it was advisors who'd been there, done that before, who get entrepreneurs, who are entrepreneurs, who love, entrepreneurs. You've talked about really being business development, which is kind of an employee. But there was a life before Cooley with you. Why entrepreneurs? What is it that's sort of in your blood that you like entrepreneurs, like working with them?
If you read my LinkedIn profile, I have on there that I am a frustrated entrepreneur. Nobody can tell you better than me that most of these things don't work out. Most entrepreneurial ventures, unfortunately, fail. And I happen to be doing the venture-backed entrepreneur thing during the years 2000 and 2001. If you remember, the tech meltdown and then 9/11, and if it wasn't already dead after the tech meltdown, 9/11 killed it. So I was in 2 venture-backed startups at that time, and I'd done others before that, but with some limited success. But after 2 of those, I'm a father of 5 kids. My wife, after our 4th kid, said, "I don't know about this startup thing." And right about that time, I got a call from my friends over at Cooley, who happened to be my counsel for both of those companies. And they said, "Hey, how about coming over and joining us?" And I said, that seems like a good idea. So they've got the golden handcuffs on me here.
And then, of course, Jeannie, your wife, probably said, "Yes, we like that a lot."
Now that I have 3 kids in college, I'm not going anywhere.
I get that. Well, thank you again for everything that you do for Frederick as well. When we first started talking about this, they're like, "Why Carl? He's from Virginia, right?" But I know you live and breathe Frederick, and you absolutely love it here too. So, not just thank you for Fitzy, but everything that you do for Frederick.
Sure. Well, early on, I was working at an early stage venture conference in D.C., and I noticed that the home-based businesses that we were seeing executive summaries for were coming out of 2 places: Ashburn, Virginia, and Frederick, Maryland. That's really the outer burbs in Virginia and in Maryland. And so that's where Frederick first really, in terms of a business destination, showed up on my radar, because businesses have to be started somewhere. Usually it's a home. And then maybe you migrate to Starbucks, and then Fitzy maybe. And so that got me thinking about Frederick as a business destination. But I have to say, I live right on the Potomac River. Literally, Maryland gets closer to my house depending on the time of year. And so I have 1 foot in Maryland, and I do all my shopping in Maryland, because the closest small town is Brunswick, Maryland, but the closest real town is Frederick. It's closer than Leesburg. So I spend my time over here. We go to the Walmart here, we go to the Costco here, we eat at BJ's down the street. I mean, this is where we come on the weekends and after work. So I consider this my hometown.
Well, we're glad you do, and thank you again for everything that you do. I so appreciate it, and the entrepreneurs really appreciate it as well. You've given them great advice over the years, so thank you.
It's my pleasure.
And thank you guys for watching In the Trenches. Check out fitzy.org for the rest of the interviews, and you get to know the people behind Fitzy and the ones who are running. We have 107 volunteers, so I'm pretty excited about it.